Let me say that.
Where's the husband we need him to?
I have to go with Punker though. I just think that Secret have a very solid draft around the Roche and they have really good heroes versus the Terrorblade.
We'll see if that's the case. We'll leave it now to Gods and LD to conclude this rivalry of a series. Gentlemen, take it away.
Oh, over to the casting desk. Thank you very much, Coddle Guy. Here we go. OG already underway. Fly did TP out here early, and it looked like he may have wanted to go for that hill ward in the pit, but he did bypass, I believe it was Misery in the river. So opts to put his ward in a different location, so both teams getting their wards down. I'm not sure if OG actually scouted this one being deployed, but they... No, there could have been a ward planted, so Gods, we'll see how the warding games develops, but it was very important last game because it really slowed down Moon in game 1 when his neutrals were warded up. This game doesn't seem like they're going to get that vision.
Yeah, it's funny how you play a full best of 3 and even just the level 1 warding changes from game to game based on what happened previously, and we're not going to see Secret again go for that Secret Shop Camp ward because it got de-warded the previous game. It becomes too predictable to try and do it again and again.
So, early on, Secret sending 3 heroes scouting down towards the bottom rune. They do have that Observer ward, so they know there's only a Terrorblade lurking up the hill. Meanwhile, it looks like No-Tail should get his early bounty uncontested here. So it'll be a bounty rune for bounty rune. So we'll have a pause here. Gives us a chance to evaluate some of the lane matchups. It looks like it's going to be Razor versus OD. Used to be a matchup where it seemed like Boots really decided the matchup. Is that still the case? How has this matchup evolved with the changes to OD?
No-Tail, in kind of classic fashion, is going for the Boots first on his Razor. I think it's early levels pretty good for Razor, but once OD kind of gets his stride, gets past like the first couple of minutes, gets some OKCS, he matches up alright against Razor, so we'll see early on probably some very aggressive play in the lane from No-Tail, and I imagine Fly Online, he's not just going to be blocking this first creep wave, he's going to be lurking around this mid lane, kind of like he did last game on the Winter Wyvern. They actually were okay leaving Miracle alone, even in a kind of weird matchup. It was Slark versus Nature's Prophet, which doesn't sound great, but Miracle just so good mechanically that he can handle these slightly less favorable matchups even in the carry role in the safe lane.
No, he'll definitely need to use every ounce of those mechanics, as it is extremely annoying to play against the boar
and the other
when you're in melee form.
The other key thing OG is going to be doing is Crit's going to, I believe, fissure block this top lane to try and guarantee that Moon can get level 2 on Tidehunter. Having both Anchor Smash and Kraken Shell makes this lane a lot more manageable for him, so... And also just accelerates his jungle. If he can get level 2 from the lane, then he can kind of swing into that big camp, get his farm going with the Iron Talon, and just farm a whole lot faster. So we'll see that early fissure here at top from Crit.
Yeah, and overall Moon start should be much more like Game 2 than Game 1. Won't have the IO partner, but we'll have his camp unblocked, and we'll have the creep wave pretty far back. It is against the Drow, so he'll definitely need access to the woods. We'll see if Secret make any moves to try and counter that. Pilot Die with a single sentry here mid, so maybe he tries to sneak up, but it's already lumbering down into the river.
He'll probably throw a fissure. He's got like a free fissure because he's still got his clarity going. One of the nice things about the fissure block at the start is you get the double fissure.
Big static link here early from No-Tail, plus 28 damage. He'll be very satisfied with that beginning and gets his first CS of the game. Wanting to hit Pilot Die, but doesn't have the vision up the hill. So it looks like Miracle will get some help early on with Fly zoning the Beastmaster. He should farm well, and it doesn't seem like Misery will have that easy harass that he was looking for early on. But at the same time, you look at Moon in the offlane, won't be so fun for him either. Neither offlane are going to get the 1v1.
Yeah.
Not the best win rate on the Terrorblade though, as you can see. Feels like a static laning setup so far from Secret Gods.
Yeah, both teams...
Unlikely to move much early.
I mean, OG can... they're helping out the mid lane with the Shaker as much as possible, just wanting to make sure No-Tail can do okay here. And the fissure combined with the static link can give OD some problems. So we'll see, in theory, both OD and Razor kind of focusing as much on harassing and preventing the other farming as they focus on their own farm.
Moon posting up here on Eternal Envy, but Puppy, he's taking the early point in Poison Touch, so the harassment will be substantial. Envy still only level 1, no Frost Arrows. Moon desperately wanting that level 2. He finally gets it, finally gets the point in Kraken Shell. He's going to have to use burn a teleport scroll, and he has to go back to the base even. So a slow start for the Titan, but finally level 2. Meanwhile, bottom Misery has been Hex stunned as well. Crit coming through with the fissure, likely to be the first blood here, bottom, and it's been 2 Secret first bloods up until now, but this time it's OG who strike. An important kill on Miracle. The first one to get the gold.
And Terrorblade's one of those heroes when it kind of disappears for a while from the meta, which is kind of what's happened. You kind of forget how strong it is as an offlane and how much damage he can do when he's in Metamorph, that you'll make a mistake like that and be like, holy crap, Metamorph does that much damage with the reflection so slow to help
Look
set
at
up
Misery
the
right now.
clicks. Yeah, he TPs in, he's taking 80-ish damage at right click. This is a kind of brutal hero when he's got Metamorph up, but then he has this downtime where effectively Metamorphosis is this hero's ultimate. That's the spell you've got to fight around as a Terrorblade.
Yeah, and it's kind of like when it's daytime and you're against the Night Stalker. You want to take advantage of your windows versus the hero. So this will be one for Misery. He's using the boar here to help jungle fly. Teamwork here from the opponents. Finally die. Meanwhile, down on the river. So we are going to see Envy getting free farm to match that of the Terrorblade. The mid laners, though, not farming well at all. No-Tail, 5 and 2. Even Weeha, only 9 and 3. Neither hero getting much out of this mid lane early on.
From when I've been seeing them, Pi and Wee, even when Wee's lost damage, have been doing a great job just like denying together. They'll attack their own creeps at the same time. And Razor, even when he had plus 20, plus 30 damage from the static link, was still getting denied by these two heroes. So just good laning coming out from Pi and Wee, and Earthshaker doesn't offer that same laning presence as an Io can as far as your actual last hitting goes.
Well, Crit has trying to make efficient use of his time. He has tech the Ancients, now he's holding the top lane. Looks like Dai wanted to creep up.
He's going to
kind of backstab.
effectively play a pseudo offlane Earthshaker now with Moon transitioning into the jungle. So it's kind of going to be a greedy, slow-paced tempo from OG for now, because they can't stay that way. That's what happened last game. Is they started off slow-paced, focusing on their farm, trying to be more greedy. But then once the Draw Ranger lineup came online around 10 to 15 minutes, they lost tons of towers, gave up kills, and that can't happen again. So they can play slow-paced for now, but they've got to adapt from last game.
Dai camping out the 4-minute rune. He grabs an arcane rune. The bounty will spawn bottom, tethering his way in. But it is something OG demonstrated in game 1, is they're very adept at maximizing their efficiency. So we talk about Envy as an individual being great at that, but they've done a really good job at making sure they always get their pulls off, stacking Ancients whenever possible. We saw Puppey do it on the Enigma last game, incredibly efficient in the jungle. And this game, we're seeing it in terms of the lane swaps and rotations, as Crit manages at 3.5, held the off lane, still the Tidehunter getting the jungle, so efficiency a big theme throughout this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Puppey's kind of sitting around, no one really to zone out of the top lane for now, and I mean, both the secret supports are kind of perhaps a bit more known for not playing quite as greedy as some of the other teams, and if OG are playing kind of the passive farm game, taking their own jungle, at some point Secret are going to have to up the tempo and take the game to OG.
And we'll see if maybe they even look to contest these Ancients. Crit now stacking again. That's going to be a quad stack if it doesn't get blocked, and the Triceratops cooperates, so a whopping pile of gold there now available.
He's got the double Triceratops too, that's the dream.
It sounds kind of painful, potentially. Mid lane, they're making the move. The banish coming through. They should be getting the tether slow here on to No-Tail. Heal bomb out as well. Moon arrives and tries to turn it. He's only level 4. They do manage to stun Weeha, but he's not quite under tower. And Weeha might look for a bit more. Hex from Fly. Weeha chasing forward. They had the Grave available. That was a dangerous moment for OG. Could have hemorrhaged kills, but they will get out safely. And meanwhile, Miracle posting up in the bottom lane and getting aggressive. He uses this time to farm freely. Envy doing the same top, so the safe laners continuing their relatively equal dance.
And next Metamorphosis has been popped at bottom. They're trying to pressure this tier 1 tower, but Puppey's already TP'd in. He's rotating, recognizing that this is a tower pressure that's looking and aim to try and take down this tier 1 tower early. But with Miracle pushing this alone, Secret should be in a position to defend this one.
Yeah, and as mentioned, Envy doing the exact same thing top, albeit a tiny bit slower. So I do want to point out OG, they dropped a sentry up on the hill after stacking the Ancients, so they don't want to get caught out by Secret there again. Time for a quick eye wash.
Yep.
You wear glasses though, so you're okay, surely.
Even more, I mean, I wear contacts sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. Gotta get that LASIK, I guess.
They should sell goggles at the concession stand.
I always want to see players like the lab
suit up. Yeah.
The full-on, like,
no, what
you're
we
in
should
high
do
school again.
Yeah, you know, you're in chemistry class, like, and you accidentally get chemicals in your eyes. They've got the eye wash. We need those set up right outside the booth, so that the second that Envy's eyes start to bother him, just throw them in the eye wash.
Yeah.
Irrigate that. Clean him out.
He needs to create a system so, like, in between CS, he can just, like, tilt his head, squirt, back to last hitting.
Oh, we could have an eye wash at the player desk.
Built into the monitors, you know?
It's just, what if the thing malfunctions? It just blasts you in the face when you're in the middle of the game.
it's skill cap stuff, you know. You gotta add to the difficulty skill cap of Dota. People always complaining, oh, you've get rid of keep the blink dagger,
well,
the leash range stuff. Like
what do you think we've been doing this major? I mean, the next step is to release wild animals into the arena and see if the players can survive the onslaught.
The glue is just the beginning.
I would put my money on OG in that case. I think Fly is probably the most capable.
Oh yeah, there's
Moon's intimidating as well.
I don't know about his
way.
survival skills, but yeah.
Or he'll make them laugh. That's what he'll do.
All right, Envy's ready to go. So
we're back into it now.
Farm-wise, Terrorblade 600 net worth ahead. Most of that coming because of the first blood. Now they're actually dead even on CS. 40 CS, 14 denies.
But it does go back to the importance of that early draft and denying Secret any of the puppy junglers, because you look at experience. Already Secret was up like over 1,000 at this point, I think, but this game is actually OG with the experience lead, and that's before the Ancients get cleared out.
Yeah, and it kind of, when I was mentioning how Secret will often play like two kind of more defensive, less farming and supports, that's when Puppy's not on
That's
those
the
juggles.
exception.
Yeah.
So they deny the exception, and now they're right back where they want them, or at least relatively so.
Moon's back towards top. He's got a lot of XP out of the jungle and just the offlane. 22 CS, level 5.5. Wants to make sure he can get that level 6 at a reasonable time. And being level 6 when Secret start rotating and looking to apply pressure on towers is going to be key for him.
So Crit continues his stacking shenanigans here top lane, and so too is the IO of Pieliedie. Both teams building up large amounts of additional golden experience to be claimed later on. Misery, meanwhile bottom, does have a roar available.
Yep.
So maybe we see a kill opportunity here for Secret, but no relocate online yet. Pieliedie is going to start his jungling now, but he's doing it alone, it looks like.
Just, I guess, looking to... I mean, we talk about how Secret either need to be aggressive or like kind of compete with the farm at OG's. OG's getting farm out of 3 of the lanes as well as the jungle with the Tidehunter previously. And I guess this is Pi's way of saying, well, let's just play the greed game rather than go aggressive right now, because they're perhaps not quite ready to make any aggressive plays. Although, I mean, I feel with Beastmaster having level 6, having Raw, he hasn't got the mana right now. He's just sitting in this off lane trying to keep his tower alive, and that's the problem here. If he goes for a gank, one of the beauties of this Terrorblade pick is a hero that can pressure this
top
bottom
lane. They have Ravage, they're TPing in the Razor, they want to make a move forward here. Moon, though, doesn't have a point in Gush, so they're just going to have to steal damage and slowly walk after Puppy. It's only a level 2 Plasma Field, not enough. So a wasted TP there. Mid lane was not really pushing, so there will be some missed experience, some gold. But it seems they may leave the lane for no-tail, send the Tide back into the jungle, and look to start farming some neutral camps. Moon with the Iron Talon, the completed Arcane Boots, so very standard stuff here from your Tide.
Yep. We'll see Miracle Bracer picked up, so he may be going for a Treads Drumstill. He's got a lot of just early game, cheap, cost-effective items on Terrorblade. I think recognizing that Secret are going to have a lineup that can take a very early Roshan, that can fight very effectively in the early game, we're likely going to see heavy stats build from him. Drums, SMY,
I don't think
Skadi.
he has to play greedy either, because they have so much team fight, then Terrorblade with enough HP is quite a fearsome, even early to mid-game threat, as long as they can't burst him, and you know they've got Fissure to back him up, probably a fast mech on the Tidehunter, a relatively fast, or maybe even the Razor, and you've got all the AoE of the Ravage as well.
One of the question marks for me is what build he's going for. When the hero first got added, we were seeing a bit more of the max reflection build, but then when there was a period where a lot of the Chinese teams were playing him in the carry role, like Sylar, they're going this Helm of the Dominator, max illusion builds for the farming efficiency. But if you want to fight, okay, he's going to go 2 points in images for now. The max reflection early is very strong, but looks like he's going to kind of prioritize at least some farming efficiency with the illusions.
That's where he's still holding serve here at the bottom lane. Fly, about to get level 6, so a lot of key levels coming online. Relocate also up for Pieliedie as he makes the long walk back to base. They don't really have the most traditional IO partner for those relocates, but Roar's online, Relocate's online, Finger's about to be up, Ravage has come up.
Yeah.
You gotta figure somebody's gonna make a move soon.
And it feels like one of the big problems right now for Secret is, well, not so much problems, but one of the issues they have is Misery's sitting in this offlane with no mana. There is no kill threat coming out from Beastmaster, and OG have vision of him, they have the lane ward, they have a creep wave pushed up, so they see he's just sitting here. He's the kill threat right now. No one else in this Secret draft is going to kind of lead, like a relocate with an OD is not really all that scary. You need the Roar to get kills, to set up kills, and Misery sitting bottom without mana, is just giving OG freedom to farm their jungle, farm all the lanes, and not be scared at all. So I think Misery needs to perhaps spend more time missing from the map, or at least if he's sitting bottom lane, he needs to have mana for Roar, because if he has mana for Roar, he can Roar the Terrorblade as a relocate comes in, and you've got yourself a kill, which is why he brings the clarity to himself, fixes his problem.
He's the one who's going to get ganked out. Fly comes from the rear. They spring the trap. Crit with a beautiful fissure. Cuts off the retreat. Misery getting pounded by Miracle. The last hit will go the way of the Terrorblade. So another kill for him. Slightly behind here in CS and Envy, but OG can group up, look for a push. And you look at Secret Gods, they have some good pickoff potential, but they don't really have the best tower defense. Light on the AoE, not much creep clear. They will not be stopping this.
Yeah, it just seems a bit too kind of passive coming out from Secret here. And even this mid-tower push, which is kind of reacting to what's happening bottom, OG into defend.
Ravage coming through, connects on Pilot. I also catch out Envy. OG, a big grab there. No Tail still stealing damage through this. He's already up to 150 and rising. Envy's gonna go down. They're running onto Weehaw. Might get the kill there too. Weehaw survives, lives to tell the tale. The grave for Envy, keeping him in fighting shape. They gusted back. Secret with the huge turnaround. Then the Roar committed. Down goes the Tide Hunter. No help in sight for Miracle. He's busy pushing at the bottom lane. And after grabbing the tier 1, he'll march onwards to the tier 2, but my god, Secret with the huge saves. They did have to buy back their IO for it, but it was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. That buyback secures the tier 1 mid tower, makes sure that fight goes well for them, and OG just didn't quite have the tools to chase down those kills. It was amazing Fissure catching out 2, but they couldn't quite kill Envy before the Dazzle stun wore off, and now they've come in. They found the ancient stack.
That happens again. Can OG contest? There's no Ravage. They have an Echo, but good luck walking into that. Secret, if they can grab all these Ancients, they're
going to grab some, maybe not all,
massive economic
they've taken
damage.
A decent enough amount already.
They're committing everything. And OG are streaming towards those Ancients. They're running past the creep wave in full vision to secure this. About half left, it looks like. Maybe a bit less.
What a big hole for Team Secret.
Or for OG, rather.
Yeah.
And now immediate smoke. So they drag them to the Ancient Secret. Just straight towards the Roche.
I mean, this is
really good shot calling here, and we'll have to see if OG are able to contest the Ravage. Still on cooldown for a minute.
It feels like we're finally seeing Secret, their playstyle, like their individual players' playstyle meshing with the overall team strategy. Because I don't really feel like their individual players are mixing up their playstyle. We're still seeing this kind of hit and run, kind of split push style Dota, but they have much clearer direction. Puppy's kind of put all the pieces together, and they're actually taking objectives, they're stealing Ancients, they're still doing those cheeky early Roches, and Secret right now looking very, very good.
Yeah, that was a big swing of momentum. It had been starting to feel like OG were getting the better trades, but stealing the Ancients, grabbing the Roche. Ball's back at Secret's court. So we'll see OG now. Roshan being denied to them. Backing off a bit. Miracle heading towards the top lane now. Looks like he is going to be building into a Sanjin Yasha here, or at least a Yasha early on. Getting the Blade of Alacrity.
And again, we kind of see No-Tail struggling to find the farm, and this is something OG normally prioritize Miracle and Moon's farm. They give Moon the jungle, he goes Iron Talon, and that's where I just feel like having him on this hero like a Razor, who needs a lot of farm, he ran in last fight and just didn't have the items to really stay alive, is a bit of a weak point in the OG draft. It's not that No-Tail's having a bad game, it's that OG, as far as their overall strategy, they don't allocate farm to him. No-Tail averages insane hero damage per game, but he also has one of the lower gold per games as far as carries go.
It was 19% of the team's gold and 31% of their damage.
For a main carry player, they're all above 20.
Most players we've seen, it's like 25-25, you know, like the gold is very proportional to the damage they do. But here comes the backstab. They're making their move here. Envy getting gushed out, but they're not able to find the initiation. Moon even gusted back, and Crit decides to cut their losses. Drops the Fissure. Weehaw surging forward. He's got the Astral ready. Good stun from Fly and a nice staggered retreat from OG. But they do give up a tier 2. They will all get away.
Yeah, this is not a good time for OG to try and take fights into the OD Aegis. They're just going to kind of hit and run, trying to get if they can hit it, it's like the perfect initiation from Moon out of that smoke with a Ravage, you can find a good fight, but he doesn't have his blink yet. He's just about to get there, and once that blink comes online, I think maybe a more suitable time for OG to go for that smoke play.
Fissure on the Weehaw. They are nuking him low, but remember, he's the Aegis carrier. Tide does grab a blink, so not opting to go for the fast mech, and it doesn't look like Razor's going to be picking one up anytime soon. They want the ambush here. They want the surprise initiation, but they probably don't want to do it into an Aegis.
Yep.
And they're getting some farm and towards the top lane, pseudo trades. Terrorblade got a tier 1 tower, and they're poking around a little bit here. Picks up the Yash after Drum, so we will be seeing the kind of the heavy stats build. Either an SMY or a Manta style, both feasible. The Manta can help you get out of the Drow silence to ensure that you get Sunder off. Maybe slightly preferred. I think the Manta is probably a little bit better than
it's the better late game grab overall as well. Scales better as you get more stats items. And generally you don't really want to disassemble into a halberd or
Silver Edge
Terrorblade.
You get low from Roche, Silver Edge in, Sunder.
I miss the days when everyone was so bad at Dota that you could get away with the Shadowblade Dagon plays in Dota 1, but I guess it was Lothar's back then. May he rest in peace. But I mean, you mentioned No Tail's poor, and it just continues to be the case here. He is getting no farm.
Yeah.
This is really rough. We've seen this quite a bit. I mean, the one team that consistently gets the Razor farm is Liquid back when they were running a lot, but they also prioritize it more. They give him a lot of space, they stack for him, they protect him. He doesn't come to fights early. They don't really try to gank his lane, they just make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah, to me it's just not a hero you can pick and then not intend to give it at least like top 2 farm priority. And like even if you're playing him in that secondary carry position, you still need to give him a lot of farm. Like play it like a true dual core lineup, not a tri-core. And this is a problem. This is a big reason why Secret was 2 of the 3 games so far, the second stage banned the Batrider even when they had tied, because they know No Tail likes to play a tempo controller who's less farm dependent because his team don't give him as much farm, but Batrider's not accessible. There's kind of limited options as far as those tempo controllers go, and he ends up on a hero like Razor who can't really shine in a game like this.
He'll try to play catch-up now, slowly but surely grabbing the Ogre Club. Envy, meanwhile, Sanj and Yasha online, so not trying to go for particularly greedy items, wants to keep the pressure up. The Aegis set to expire soon though. So with the Aegis expiring, gods, and with likely a pause or a lull in the action at that point, what's the next round of steps? If you're Puppy right now, what's the plan you're drawing up for the team?
I wonder if they may prioritize Misery getting a Blink Dagger over the Necro 3. That was something we saw Alliance do in, I think, 2 of the games yesterday when he was playing Beastmaster.
Bulldog, that's right.
Yeah. Bulldog went Necro 1 into Blink Dagger before Necro 3. Misery hasn't bought his Necro 2, so as far as the next plan goes, it's similar to the previous game. Having a way to find pickoffs easily. And Raw's reliable, but having a Blink Raw obviously a lot more reliable, so during the phase when you don't have Aegis, you can't group up and just brute force your way through OG as much, so spending some time chewing through smokes, finding pickoffs, looking for kills on the Terrorblade who's often split pushing, is going to be a lot more valuable for Secret, and that's where these blinks
come into play. This is a good time for a smoke. Aegis is expired. Will Pylai reveal this one? Down at the Rune, they're going to get Weehaw, but he blinks out super quick reactions there. And in fact, too quick for his teammate. Pylai even relocated.
He's like, oh god.
You know you're fast when you juke your teammate. But in the end, won't be necessary. So relocate down, but also a smoke blown there. Oh gee, they did have a deep ward. That could have been huge. With the Aegis just expiring, you get a kill there, you farm up their jungle, maybe push in all the lanes, but he was ready for it.
And for OG's side, they need these secondary Blink Daggers. They've got Shakers. I feel like the Lions in some ways is just as important because like in a situation like that, you really need the Blink Hex. Crit, the only way he can get the insta catch is if he Blink Echoes, which is probably at this stage worth it for an OD kill. We're seeing a very slow-paced farm game. It's only 3 kills apiece, kind of unlike some of the previous games. So any kill means a big deal if it's on a core. It's well worth using a Ravage or an Echo Slam to kill someone like OD at this stage of the game, more so for OG because they are the ones on the back foot.
It's a smoke here from Secret. They showed Envy mid, but OG knew it. They pinged it out. They are throwing heroes down onto the low ground, but it's a tight-knit ball of 5 behind him. So Secret will break through up the ramp and away. They do have a ward on Puppy. Curious to see where they plant that. Just a sentry for now on the high ground. It looks like they will be prepping for the last outer tower getting pushed. It's not 6 towers at 11 minutes, but it is still damn fast. And smoke number 2, OG. Chewing through these, they're going to lead with the Terrorblade illusion. Maybe trying to bait something out. Pylai dies, scouting out in front of the tower. Probably calling out that there's something a little bit odd going on here, and they are going to make their move. Miracle, the man in front, immediately metamorphs in vision of Secret, is going to slow down Misery. But again, it looks like, well, they might just have to settle for a simpler kill here. Pilot Eye going for the tether out, and Fly says, hell no! Drops the finger, gets the kill, then Crit comes in! Big echo on the 2, but not enough to finish the job just yet. The Ravage as well follow from Moon. What they lack in gold, they're making up for in team fight. OG will end up getting 3 kills here, only losing the Razor, barely surviving on just a trickle of HP as Crit. And that is a 2,000 gold swing.
Interesting fight. Wisp was postured very aggressively there behind the tier 2 tower. I think not expecting OG to fight and defend that one. OG though, just great use of what was their last smoke. No-Tail just kind of runs in, plays that sacrificial lamb roll, and at this stage of the game, like, that's the best thing he can do, is just soak up spells, be the one who kind of gets gone on, and he's the one who kind of creates the opportunity for Crit to get off that great Blink Echo Slam. Then it's followed up by the Ravage. They unfortunately don't have the ability to also chase down Wii, and he gets the Blink Escape, but a very good fight for OG.
And it does highlight that Secret, not the best team fight lineup. They're more reliant on the counterplays here as top lane. Fly gonna get caught out, relocate forward from Highlight Eye. The Hex comes through, but no, does pop the stick. He's gonna be heading back fairly soon here. Has the TP. Will he make it on time? Weehaw blinking forward, and he actually blinks past him, but he just
self-astral.
He self-astrals. He was mid-click on Fly, but he
Well, you talked about being too fast earlier for Wii. Again, a bit too fast.
It was a bit of a guessing game, but yeah, does end up costing him in the end. That's rough.
Wow. Lowest net worth at 20 minutes.
Well, that's actually big. Fly had 2230 gold. He is going to get his blink now if he wants it. Now, sometimes those escapes aren't the biggest deal, but this could be a game changer. Double blink now on the supports.
Yeah. Makes a big difference when there's heroes like Dazzle and Io in the game who are always going to try and sit back, position themselves such that they can use their defensive tools to save the secret cause, be it the Tether Relocate or the Grave. Having a Blink Dagger on a line, he can try and find and isolate heroes like Dazzle, like the Io.
And bottom lane, they have found Misery here. Miracle moving onto him, has no teleport available for 6 seconds with Crit hunting him down. Relocate offline. It's going to be extremely tough for Misery to make it out of this one, but he puts on his Nikes. He's juking away. Crit gets one. He might go down to the Necrobulk here. Misery somehow eking a kill out of a horrible situation. Oh, it's still a costly death on the Beastmaster, but he makes it better than nothing.
Well, speaking of, I mean, we saw Wii juke himself, and Crit does the same thing a bit at bottom lane, unfortunately.
That's a stressful game, a big moment for both teams.
So high pressure.
A win here, you're, it's guaranteed top 6 at that point, so yeah, a lot at stake.
And this is also, I mean, just looking at this as a rematch from the previous Majors Grand Finals. This is kind of a time for Secret to kind of get some vengeance after losing that best of 5. There's just been a lot of kind of talk between these two teams, and I think a lot at stake just about proving who's the better team right now. 2 of the OG players were on the former Team Secret and were basically kicked from the team, so... You see Puppy coming, get a ward down while smoke, something OG are not aware of. This sees all of the OG heroes.
OG has a BKB, could be a disastrous time to go if OG move in too far, but they're already late. Secret grabbing their Aegis. They do have a relocate available if they want to chase forward and try for a pickoff. Crit dropping the fissure to cover the path of retreat. They did have a ward scouting him out, but they're going to hold the relocate for now. Pilot died quite far back. It seems Secret aren't going to risk that big jump forward. We'll play it safe. Puppy grabbing more wards. And it looks like they already have the vision advantage here, and they want to keep it going.
Yep.
Double BKB.
And unlike last game, it's not as easy for Secret as far as their position they're in, where they can't just try and 5 men down, split push a bit, kind of group up, try and take the high ground. OG have the Blink Daggers. They've got the team fight advantage. They've got Ravage, they've got Echo Slam, having a line to try and deal with the pesky supports who have all their defensive tools. Terrorblade, who's very well farmed. No-Tail's not in the best position to fight until he has his BKB, but Secret, I think, aren't even going to be able to really get much done with this Aegis in some ways, and that's kind of a concern, because they've got the Drow strategy where you will see this hero fall off, and they've got to try and look for ways to secure this game, which is going to have to come from kind of key pickoffs on OG core heroes.
And relocating offensively, very risky when you're walking into a Ravage and just all the burst damage that you mentioned.
It feels like relocate can only be used as a defensive tool this game, which is a limitation in itself for Secret as far as moving forward ways for them to end this game.
And even defensively, you better not pop those BKBs at the wrong time, or even that won't be available.
I think Misery becomes the key player for Secret. The Hawk vision for what it provides for the team, as well as the only way they can use the relocate offensively is Misery kind of roaming around finding Blink Roars. And I say Blink Roars, he needs to farm up a Blink Dagger, I feel, desperately, because it creates those pick-off opportunities. You can have 4 Secret heroes like pushing a lane while Misery tries and finds it. Because Terrorblade, if he sees a group up push from Secret, he's going to go split push. And that's where Misery, if he can find him, hunt him down, get him with a Roar, relocate in, you can actually kill off Miracles. So I think Misery, he's got to be the playmaker for Secret. He's the one on a hero that can make stuff happen. The rest of the heroes, like you've got your 2 defensive supports who play reactionary, you've got OD who's gone for this defensive build until he gets a Hex, he can't really play the initiator type role, and then you've got Dro who's just your classic right clicker. So the playmaking comes down to Misery this game.
OG really hanging back now. The whole team ensconced within their own base. It looks like they don't want to come out to play in Secret. Just intent on farming at this point. There's the Blink Dagger on Beastmaster, so to the extent you mentioned Misery is the big playmaker to watch for Secret, he's got a new tool to help make those plays happen.
And that's the thing with OG's draft, is they've got numerous heroes. They've got 3 heroes who can kind of fulfill the role. 2, which as far as big team fights go, but even Lion in some ways.
Blink forward banish. Oh, aggressive move here, but that's all.
And No Tail's like, man, I finally got 9 guys. Let's do this. Let's go fight.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if they want to just fight right now, actually.
Fairly important one to deal with the OD, and at the same time, it's still a Drow lineup with a Beastmaster Roar, so it does not mean he's a tank by any means.
Lots of physical damage. There's Weave as well to help amplify physical damage coming out from Secret.
And on that note, we're not going to see Moon go into the more standard mech or Greaves. He's actually building straight into Shivas or, I guess maybe AC from the looks of things.
I think a good Shivas game. OD is not going to have the best attack speed, so the attack speed slow is quite effective against him. And just having the extra armor going to help a lot against the Dro Beastmaster, the Weave as well from Puppey. I think something that OG are recognizing is that because of the nature of Secret's draft, having these 2 defensive supports in Io Dazzle, they're not going to scale well to the late game. Compare that to what the Earthshaker Lion Jaw bring. These heroes have tremendous kill potential and teamfight abilities as you go into the late game. So Secret, their 2 supports may be able to save a core in the late game, but OGs can do that through their disables as well as find kills on key heroes. They can lock down a hero like an OD, a Dro Ranger, catch them before they can get a BKB off with a Blink Echo Slam, with a Blink Hex. So there's just a lot more late game potential out of OG's lineup.
And so it really sounds like you feel they're a ticking time bomb and Secret needs to defuse it soon. So to the extent that's true, how long do they got? When is this thing going to blow up?
Probably the Aegis cheese push. The OD will have Hex around that time, so I mean I'm talking really like 10 minutes away, because we're looking, well, maybe for like 6 to 8 minutes away. They've still got an Aegis now, but this Aegis is not the timing that's good for Secret. They missed their, I mean, they didn't have opportunities early. If they did really well in the early game, they could have perhaps been in a position to take racks, but as things currently stand, it's going to be the next level of items, the Blink Hex from OD, the Aegis and Cheese, where they've got the ability to try and take it to OG despite OG having the better team fight. They'll just have that extra life advantage and that perhaps item or 2 advantage. Like you look at the top net worth heroes, 3 of the 4 are in the Secret cap, yet they still can't push.
Yeah, and you can tell Secret know it, so they're building towards a Hex here on Weeha, it appears. They'll have the Blink Hex initiation, powerful for pickoffs, that plus the Roar. And the relocated. You gotta imagine they'll be looking to use those tools to find the power play that they haven't been able to yet. OG holding back in the mid lane, but they are dealing with a big network of wards. They've done an okay job at dewarding, but you can also see all the misfires here as they struggle to maintain any semblance of vision. Could be the difference maker for Secret.
Yeah, and as much as I talk about OG having really good supports and just a pretty good lineup to go into the late game, they need the farm to go into the late game, which is currently what they're kind of struggling to find. They haven't got the items on their core heroes outside of the Terrorblade. Razor's still struggling to really find any semblance of farm, just has this BKB. But it's very much a one team fight game. We haven't really seen that big team fight. If OG win one big team fight on a high ground defense, Secret probably lose the game right then and there. Maybe not, okay, so not right then and there, but at that point, I don't think Secret will be able to go well into the late game. Like with Tide, Razor suddenly able to find items through a team fight. Secret very much, I think, recognizing it's that one big team fight. They've got to have the best possible, like, just items for. They've got to have Aegis. They want to have Cheese. They want to have everything ready before they take that one team fight, which is just going to decide this entire game.
Yeah, it goes the other way. Moon blows a Ravage on BKBs, and you may just be looking at GG instantly. But OG are going to start to maneuver here towards the top lane. They were just farming the Ancients. Weehaw playing it safe, backing up, only about 250, 300 gold away here from a Hex.
You can see just the tension. Neither team looking to go for any risky plays, because I'm going to talk about what the two teams, as far as finding kills go, like it's Misery who can find the solo roll. So he is kind of lurking around this bottom lane, applying pressure, seeing if any hero comes this way to actually go for a kill. There's a new pickup, the Aghanim Scepter.
I'm curious how many times this has been picked up.
There's been like 1 or 2 games with the Aghanim Scepter, maybe. Very, very few.
Is this the Terrorblade illusion counter?
Yes, absolutely.
How good do you think this is going to be against them?
I mean, I can only kind of theory craft here. I
count on Envy to pull this out. The against Drow in 30 minutes is a crucial Game 3 decider.
This is definitely legit against the Terrorblade, even more so with all the illusions. And he's got enough. He's still got 2k gold. So the one main worry for Envy is if there's suddenly a team fight where Terrorblade has like a evasion, like a butterfly, and he doesn't have an MKB, but he can quickly farm an MKB right now. He's sitting on 2.3k gold. He's well equipped to deal with those illusions, and he's in a pretty good position here.
Let's see. Maybe Secret just planning on using it to shove out the lanes as well. That could be an option. For now, Notel is progressing slowly but surely in terms of his inventory. Razor grabbing the Hyperstone, working towards an AC, so they are gearing up for heavy armor. And versus the Drow Beastmaster, you certainly will need it.
Both teams, it's all about the physical damage in some ways. Envy's got even a Frost Armor creep just following him around a bit.
No, Medallion coming up. Oh, this is game of armor. I like how complete it's in quotes.
Was a joke going for one?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Miracle keeps on farming, but you're gonna look at this Terrorblade. Like, what point is he going to be equipped to fight into this lineup? And he's going to struggle at a lot of stages of this game. There's so much farm on Dro and OD. His hero doesn't match up well against an OD, even more so when OD has Hex.
They're moving towards top. They want to come in for the catch here.
Not quite there.
Just a few seconds away from getting jumped. Notel rushing in, but Pilot Eye able to sneak away through the river.
Notel going straight into AC as well, yeah. It's, I think, a necessity that he goes for that big late game item, just because the pace of this game is very much gearing towards that stage. And here we go. This is like your pub build.
Aghanim, Envy-chan. Look at this. Maelstrom Ags, the Terrorblade counter.
This is beautiful. You can get the procs on the Splinter attacks as well, which is what makes
oh dear.
On like orbs like Maelstrom on the hero when you get Ag Scepter, that's that much more brutal.
Do you think Envy's played this exact matchup and done it before, or do you think this is a theory craft? I'm really curious. I wish he was here right now. We just pause the game, ask him real quick. He probably needs to wash his eyes anyway, so, you know. Let's just give him a
wash your eyes, step out your booth, we'll have a bit of a
benefit
pause.
the production.
I mean, this is like what pubs do to grief people, is just sit in the jungle with Ag's Maelstrom and come out with like triple Maelstrom or something.
They're moving in, no Envy with the BKB dodge there on the Echo. This is going to be a hard fight for OG. He goes on to Notel, just crushes his way through the Maelstrom, lost the lineup, Moon's on the run. Shaker's going to get finished off in one fell swoop, the big team fight that we mentioned, but it goes entirely the way of Secret. 4 down. Well, they got Terrorblade, but forget about the items, just the reaction speed there on Envy. We saw it earlier from Weehaw on the OD. We see it again here now for him on the Drow. If he doesn't get that BKB off, this is a very different game.
Absolutely. You get that Echo before the BKB. I don't want to say OG
also want to point out they have a ward here, so he had vision the second that broke.
Just too fast, and great reactions from Eternal Envy. He's kind of he's the make or break player for this Secret team, and he has played incredibly well this series. And OG find themselves in position. They're going to lose a lane of racks here, and even when their heroes respawn, Earthshaker does not have Echo Slam for this team fight. Tide, most importantly, does not have buyback, so even though Ravage is available, this is going to be a full lane of racks, and quite likely Roshan.
He actually just bought a Ring of Health. Not sure it would have mattered, because I'm Terrorblade and Tide versus all of those heroes. Probably not winning the fight anyway.
They weren't going to defend the bottom lane with Earthshaker dead without Echo Slam, so I think it kind of works out okay as long as they don't lose 2 lanes of racks. OG still in this game, but it's very much in the game, but how do they win this game? And that's a difficult question to answer when Secret have 2 very farm cores that match up well against Terrorblade in the late game, and Terrorblade's really the only farmed hero on the OG side.
The equation has changed now, where OG felt like we're comfortably inching towards their late game dominance. Secret now with the map control advantage, a fresh Aegis of Cheese, the Blink Hex online, and the previously unexplored illusion counter here. on the Drow Ranger are now in much better shape.
OG, not so much at all in, but they do buy the Butterfly, forgo having buyback on Miracle's Terrorblade, which puts him in a pretty risky position, but to me this is like OG saying we're in kind of a desperate position. We just got to buy anything and everything we can right now.
Alright, someone get down to the booth and ask him.
He's not all chatting the eyes.
Quickly! Winter, make yourself
useful. I think
useful.
by now everyone knows it's his eyes. We need the booth cam on Envy! Pronto!
Moon's eyes seem okay. So, yeah, he had just bought the Ring of Health. Looks like he's going towards that refresher. Yep. If they can get to that point, then OG will probably stabilize here, but that is a long way off.
Yeah, the Terrorblade Butterfly, and kind of pesky for the OD. Even the Drow's item slot limited right now. You'd have to drop the Helm of the Dominator to be able to get an MKB. Or, I mean, I guess the SMY is probably the item you might replace, because you definitely want to have lifesteal.
He has gone for a bunch of like tier 2, tier 3 items, so it's not really the best pure late game itemization, but it got the Millennium of Rack, so already it's paid for itself.
He's got the money. He can get an MKB in no time at all. It's just how do you
what do you replace? Yeah. He's already got BKB and Egg, so you don't really need the SMY for survivability.
The movement speed's kind of nice, but again, I don't know. I'm not sure what Envy will come up with something. He always does. He always does. After CTY, he probably has the most original item builds of any player in this tournament. Nobody's on CTY's level.
He's on he's created his own tier, crafted something very unique. They are grouping up here a bit mid, OG. And they are going to smoke, and it's just out of dire vision, it looks like. Don't think anyone got scouted.
They see him.
Envy's in a great position. They blink Hex to the low ground. Surprise on Envy. Echo there as well. They're going to drop the Plasma Field. Fissures there. Perfect chain stun. OG. Grabbing a big kill. And I think the crowd went wild there. I think our crowd just woke up.
They love Jackie. Known for being an artist in China. Absolutely tense stuff here in game number 3.
The chants continue. Envy actually no buyback for a minute. Can they punish?
He may have it sooner. He's like 30 gold short, and it's getting smaller and smaller the margin. So.
And the lanes are pushing in here. The IO OD work their magic top lane. They're gonna drag them back. OG though still have the Ravage available. And will end up safely escaping, so they get a clean kill, they back off to the base, and they waste some precious Aegis type of mid lane. Weeha's jumped in, he's unloaded the Hex here on the fly. Shiva's Guard comes out trying to mitigate that damage, but Weeha far too big. Already 15 stolen in, they tether forward, they're hunting on the Moon, the Boars have isolated him, the Roar comes through as well, Moon gonna immediately cracking it off, but Axis slicing through and chopping up the watermelon into more bite-sized pieces. They get the kill there as well, so it ends up being an overall 2-for-1. Not so good a trade anymore.
Yeah. Looks like that could set up Secret to force this tied buyback. Envy will be respawning in 5 seconds, has a completed Mjolnir, and all lanes pushing in, applying pressure. Unfortunately, Secret, it will take some time to get Drow Ranger back to the front lines, but it seems to be the plan here.
He TPs to the tier 3 tower and starts marching down mid. So
where
Envy,
the career was waiting for.
Envy, really eager to get here. Every second counts for Secret. Plasma Field coming out. They are going to fissure Weeha and lock him in position for now. There's still plenty of time left on the Aegis.
Yeah, that's
and now
the
a
other thing.
completed Shiva's Weeha. Massive in his own right.
It's not just the Drow with this Ags Mjolnir build dealing with the illusions. It's OD who can one-shot illusions, it looks like. Not sure if that applies to all the illusions. The Manta melee illusions maybe a bit tanky, but illusions just are useless against Secret right now. When the Drow and the OD are live, they just instantly take them out.
Stun on Envy here, but not the hero you really want to be targeting with an IO tethering to him, as well as the Dazzle in position. They are going to try to force heroes forward. Stealing a bit of damage there, just a lick though with the static link. Meanwhile, blink forward, there could have been a fissure on Misery.
Yeah. Misery was in classic Secret fashion. He got the tier 3 tower top down to half HP just with his Necro 3. Manages to get out alive as well, so a bit of just pressure and damage applied. Luckily for OG, Tide not having to use his buyback means he can get a little bit closer to that refresher.
OG are still hanging on in the base though. Only the one lane of racks down. They are a great high ground lineup.
Oh, Tide actually picks up Ghost, I guess deciding that he may not ever get to a point where he can farm a refresher, because he's still sitting on that Ring of Health, but just buys a casual Ghost Scepter.
Oh, he's delayed it a lot if he was going to get it.
This is, yeah, very much a Probably not going to farm it at a time that we may just lose, most likely before we get it. So I want to make sure that I can stay alive against the heavy physical damage and the right clicks of Drow Ranger as well as the OD.
Sandy posted up pretty far here, working on Moon. Weeha having a record-setting game to this point. For him at least. But they haven't closed OG out yet. They keep the lane shoved in, the Aegis timer dropping very low, and it will expire once more. So Secret, they got the 1 racks, but they won't get a second lane. This game continues.
We're going to go in the distance, LD.
Is there a point where OG get harder to deal with for Secret? Because, you know, at first we opened the game, we had a lot of discussion about how, mid lane, Moon, he's been caught out, this could be disastrous for him. OD ult is available, he's got the Hex ready as well, BKB online too. They blink it though, they look for the counterplay here, they fissure, they ravage, they throw everything up, and then he gets relocated back out by Pylite. OG blows their load, and now needs to run away quick, fast, and in a hurry. They manage to banish one, keeping the Razor locked down. They're gonna finish off Fly, they turn back for No Tail, running down the Razor. Weeha in heavy pursuit finishes him off as well. The Tide, meanwhile top lane, they end up dropping to Misery, just hacking away at him slowly but surely, but Miracle arrives, will finish him up. They have popped back on the line, and they hold their own for now. They have a Metamorphosis, but this is going to be very tough. The hammer gets dropped, finishing off Fly. The lane's still pushing in, and it's all up to Mr. Miracle without a Ravage to help him out. He slows down Envy, they get the Gush going, but he pops the BKB. He's going to turn. Mjolnir's there, the debuff, or the buff rather, thrown onto him, and meanwhile, top lane getting caved in. OG could be on their last legs here in the upper bracket. Racks dropping, heroes falling everywhere you look. OG is crumbling, 4 dead. It's going to be all 6 racks and only Miracle left alive. The team just a bit too heavy in the end. It will end up being a 2-1 for Secret. Some very unorthodox playing picks here, but they pulled it out down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, the desk, we spent a lot, well, we didn't have much time. The last pick, Terrorblade, we looked at it and we're like, is this really a Terrorblade game? And definitely not is the final verdict. OD destroying the illusions, 1 shot at a time. Even Envy itemizing to help deal with them. At no point, I mean, you can kind of talk about Miracle like, man, he had an incredible game, he got so farmed, he just tried to put his team on his back, but realistically, he didn't actually contribute all that much to this game.